This video is going to serve as a primer for everybody who is not familiar with the Halo Championship Series, aka the HCS. It's a great time to get into Halo Championship Series because we are just days away from the first major, which is going to take place this weekend. It's going to be live on YouTube and Twitch, and it's going to be all over Twitter. Everybody's going to be talking about it that's a fan of the Halo community, where pro teams and regular pickup teams alike vie for precious Halo Championship Series points, leading towards the road of the major ultimate final HCS True Championship, which is going to take place later on in the future. This particular event is going to have a lot of money on stake, $250,000 US, plus those coveted HCS points, which are going to help pro teams move on down the line. If you've never watched competitive Halo, it's a great time to get into it. It's a 4v4 game, which is great. It's a lot easier to track than some of these other games that are 6v6 or, larger scale things. And the team does a phenomenal job walking you through everything. But I would be remiss if I didn't throw in my 2 cents, because I am a huge, huge fan of Halo and the Championship Series. And if you look at this picture very closely, somewhere right in here, you could probably see the back of my beautiful head with my wife sitting next to me. We were at this event. We were live. It was in Orlando, and we loved it. Okay? Moving on. What is going on? Well, this is the first tournament that is going to be taking place. The traditional tournament format, it's going to be a ladder where you're going to have teams face off. Ultimately, the winner is going to be crowned at the end of the tournament, which will take place on Sunday. By the way, I just want to point out, I will be putting links to all of these things. I think I have like 9 things to show you guys today in the description box below. So while you're down there subscribing to the channel, go ahead and do yourself a favor and read up on some of these if you're curious. But essentially, this is the official Halo Waypoint page. This has most of the major information regarding some of the times and the dates, when to expect things, how to watch, and it also includes a frequently asked questions for people who are actually going to be there in person. I will not. Thankfully, HCS is going to make its way back to my beautiful hometown of Orlando, Florida, late next year. I'll definitely be there for that. But until then, we're going to have to wait, and I'll just watch remotely. Lots of questions in here, lots of answers. You could see some of the breakdown of the prize points. First prize is going to walk away with $100,000. Then it scales down significantly. However, still a pretty good chunk of change for teams who can make it, I'd say, in the top 5. Now, keep in mind, typically an HCS team includes the players, a coach, as well as the parent organization, which is going to be really significant in a minute. We'll talk about that when we get into some of the later parts of this video with some of the late breaking news that has kind of gone down in the world. Jumping over, you're going to be treated to some of the best broadcasters in the Halo community. Lottie's definitely going to be there. Lottie Van Praag. She's kind of the anchor of the whole thing. She's always sitting at the desk. She's kind of running the whole show. You're going to have a lot of casters doing play-by-plays. Golden Boy, who you've probably seen on the Rock show, the Titan games. Golden Boy is also now a G4 TV host, and he's just kind of an overall gaming personality. He'll be calling some play-by-play. He'll be joined by some of the other big former Halo Championship Series retired players. Andy Dinsky, a.k.a. Bravo, will be there. I love Bravo. I always tell the story of the first Fans Fest I ever went to, and I got to meet Bravo and take a picture with him, and it was one of the coolest moments of my life. He's a former Halo community manager. He just recently did the Halo 2 Artifacts podcast, which is an absolute must listen to for anybody who is interested remotely at all in Halo. He does a really good deep dive, very well articulated, very well spoken. Some of the other big names here definitely include Walshy, one of the first ever Halo Championship Series champions. This guy, Dave Walsh, is just such a funny guy. Really passionate fan. Onset will be there as well. Clutch. And then you have some of the casters who will be kind of helping direct some of the shots, because this game, there's going to basically be a chase camera essentially to toggle through what's going on in the action. And you have some other ancillary support as well listed here. It's going to be a good roster. Speaking of the roster, of course, in terms of Halo Championship Series and trying to make a couple bucks, they have released the Halo Championship Series Spotlight skins, which are available in Halo Infinite for a whopping $10 each. A little too rich for my blood, but if you want to support your favorite team, they're available in the store right now for a limited time. They will be going away and most likely making a triumphant return during the next major, some months down the road. So if you're interested there, load up Halo Infinite, go to the store, and buy something. In terms of what's kind of going on, where are we at? Well, look at all the teams we have. This is pulled from Dots Esports, which is a great reference guide. They've embedded some tweets from the Halo Championship Series as well. Look at this. 272 teams will be competing. There will be Twitch drops. So if you have a Twitch account, sync it up and watch it. You will get goodies in your normal Halo account. I don't know what they'll be quite yet. I can tell you that in the past, they used to do lots of platinum requisition packs and gold requisition packs, which were great for dropping in heavy arsenal during the Warzone events in Halo 5 Guardians. A little bit different story here. I suspect you'll see a lot of XP tokens, challenge swaps, probably some sort of unique skin or something like that. So stay signed in and linked in with your Twitch account to get some goodies there. The tournament is going to include some established teams as well as an open bracket tournament. That's where that massive number comes from. And if we scroll down here, we can see the major teams that got into the basically baked in bracket. For most people watching, these are the teams you'll be seeing because most likely they're going to weed out all the other walk-on teams. That said, if a team is really good, there's a chance they could knock out one of these teams and compete towards the end. But these teams have already locked into what they call pool play, and then there's an open bracket. We'll merge those two together and we'll advance and declare a winner. And there's a lot of recognizable names here, at least if you're a fan of esports. Fuze Clan will be there. I'll talk about them specifically in a moment. Cloud9 will be there. Optic Gaming, aka the Green Wall. Former Halo Champion Series were from Optic before Optic pulled out of Halo years ago, and now those players have reformed into a new team, and Optic then came back with other players. You'll find if you stay invested in this, there are always roster changes and people moving and swapping allegiances at the 11th hour. That is no different this year again, which I'll talk about a couple of the ones that are pretty shocking in just a moment. And I'll even talk about the Sentinels forfeiting with what happened with Royal 2 and some of the nonsense that happened there. But just understand that these are the main teams that kind of made it in, that went through their respective brackets, whether it be from Mexico, from Australia, from the US, from Europe, whatever. They won their individual kind of qualifying brackets, and they're guaranteed a spot in the tournament. That's Group A, B, C, and D. And here you can see just another photo of that. Breaking down. I believe this blog, the Esports GG, will actually be updating in real time, so you'll be able to log in here to see what the latest scores are and what kind of is going on. I know the Halo Championship Series formal page, this first one I showed here, will definitely be updating with that information as well, but everybody wants to get in and put their own spin on it. You know how that goes, right? So the big stuff leading into this, the big excitement, at least from my perspective, we had a player who was accused of cheating, and actually, because of that, he personally was banned from the tournament, and the team had to forfeit their pre-pooled position, and they actually have to fight their way back into the tournament. So what ended up happening was, without getting too in the weeds, and I was thinking about doing a separate video about this, but honestly, if I did a video highlighting every single thing that happened leading up to HCS, I would just be doing videos nonstop because there are so many roster changes and rule changes and aggression in terms of like what map should we play, what's the weapon made of, what blah blah blah. I didn't want to deal with that. But juicy read here. Essentially, you had a player from the Sentinels team. Now, why is this important? Well, the Sentinels team were the previous champions. They went under a different name back then, Optic Gaming. Then Optic, as I mentioned, dropped out of HCS. They became Tox Gaming. There's Tox Gaming right there. They became Tox Gaming, and they still were managing to do very, very well. Ultimately, they didn't win everything, but they were a very, very powerful team, Coming into this tournament, they were crushing everybody as expected. Now under the Sentinels banner, turns out one of their players was caught cheating. There's a long ruling here from the Halo Championship Series. The end result of the cheating was that a player was, in my opinion at least, inadvertently blocking IP addresses so that he could guarantee connections to better servers. And you can't do that. You have to basically, when you're playing remotely, you have to just connect to the server and hope that you get a good shot. He did something in his router to block him. That's against the rules. As a result, not only did they lose a metric butt ton of HCS points, he was forfeit. They lost their first place position, and he personally has been suspended until January 28th, 2022. The team initially said, "We are not going to compete. We are frustrated with this. We're out." And then little do we know, well, just kidding. They're going to jump back into the tournament. They're going to have to work their way through the open bracket. And oh, by the way, we got a player from Optic Gaming to come over and backfill our previous player. So Optic Gaming is now scrambling to find a fourth because they took somebody from him. It's very interesting. I guarantee you it will be talked about significantly during the tournament because leading up to it, the Sentinels, at least in my opinion, were the favorite team. Another team to watch that's very, very interesting is the Fuze Clan. Now, if you're a fan of first-person shooters, the name Snipedown may seem familiar to you. Eric Rona, he's an awesome, awesome player who played Halo for many, many years. After Halo 5 Guardians and the end of the HCS, he retired from Halo and went off to become a player in Apex Legends, and he's been winning a lot of stuff over there with his new team. He had mentioned that he was interested in coming back to Halo, but that he didn't really feel like he had the time, or, he was so kind of committed to Apex Legends, he didn't really feel like he was going to be coming back into the fray. Well, he and a couple previous players, Boobadooboo and Falcated, who are former HCS players as well, formed a team and managed to back their way into the tournament via the open bracket, which was awesome. So much so that Team Fuze is now actually, I have so many links, Team Fuze actually won enough HCS points to get into pool play. That's how good these guys are. They just basically put up together a team and said, hey, we want to play. And after they got in, Fuze, which is a respected, basically you could see all the different teams that they support. They're basically an esports organization. They put together, and they have other things too. I mean, they have Halo, Rocket League, FIFA, right? They went ahead and said, hey, you know what? We believe in you guys. We're going to bring you into our fold and give you all the rights and benefits that we can under an organizational banner. And now they're known as the Fuze Clan, which is awesome because as of like a couple weeks ago, Fuze Clan did not exist in HCS. They weren't even interested in getting into it. But I really think that Snipedown's performance with Boobadooboo in particular got them in, which is really cool. So a couple key stories to watch there as we lead into it. But I'll say this, if you don't want to get lost in the monotony of all the players and the trades and who's going here and where, which it is fascinating to me personally, just take comfort in the fact and enjoy the tournament for what it is. Tune in if nothing else. Tune in Sunday at, I'd say about 4 o'clock Eastern. You're going to get to watch the free-for-all grand finals where you're going to get to see basically the final free-for-all tournament, and then they're going to roll right into the actual grand final event with the end of the tournament, and we will crown our first Halo Championship Series winner for Raleigh. This will guarantee them a spot moving forward into the big tournament with $1 million prize pool. Maybe more than $1 million, but I know that's kind of what they've been touting in the past. Very, very exciting stuff. So I hope some of my enthusiasm and my passion and my excitement for the Halo Championship Series maybe rubs off on you. Maybe you read through some of these articles that I've posted in the description below, and it's got you excited for it as it does for me. I can guarantee you my entire weekend, and my wife knows this, she's going to be ready for me. My entire weekend is going to be spent sitting and watching and observing all of this. As a huge Halo fan, this is the culmination. This is the best of the best players in the world competing for bragging rights and a ton of dough. I don't know if I'll do a wrap-up video after HCS is over. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But at least I can say, hey, look, I did my part. I wanted to drive people into watching this, and if I get one new person to watch HCS because of this video, then it was a success for me personally. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.